This is going to be another rushed last-minute devlog, with the added challenge that I don't have my usual mental clarity. I've had some medical concerns for the past few weeks, in particular recently some brain fog, which I don't know the cause of. I've taken a couple of COVID tests and it doesn't seem to be that, but I don't know what's going on, and I probably won't go into any more detail on that on this channel. As far as I know, it's nothing too serious, but I don't really know what's going on yet. But in the meantime, for this video, I want to just talk about the few things I did manage to get done this month. In particular, I've solved one of the longest running problems with Galactic Chef, which is that the cooking gameplay never felt quite right. That's why I've iterated on it so many times. The tricky thing to balance is allowing you to, for example, sear and char something without that counting as being overcooked, and at the same time having particular cooking targets so that there's some degree of challenge, but not making it a guessing game where you have to keep trying over and over until you figure out how long to cook a steak. So what I've done now is given each ingredient a char allowance, how much of it is allowed to be charred, and up to that amount is just completely ignored in the calculation of whether something is undercooked, perfectly cooked, or overcooked. Additionally, the middle meter on the Tastealyzer has been repurposed to be a cooking meter, so that you can see exactly how far the cook has progressed, and the challenge remaining is just timing, taking it off the heat so that the residual heat cooks it to that perfect point. And beyond that, I've pretty much gone back to how cooking worked before. There is residual heat. The higher the temperature, the faster it will cook, and the heat takes time to propagate from the bottom part touching the pan through the other layers. Aside from that, I've also been de-spaghettiing the recipe planner code, because a lot of it had still been there from an older design, and it got messy. Part of what I've changed is reducing the number of selection states to simplify a lot of logic. Also, instead of having the possibility of a pending step that you're editing before it gets added to the recipe, I just immediately add any step you're editing to the recipe and mark it as uncommitted so that it doesn't show up in the list, and it'll get discarded if you switch to something else. But just having it in the recipe reduces the number of special cases and convoluted logic. Aside from that, I've mostly been fixing lots of bugs, and I'm starting on the pantry tutorial, which is slightly difficult because the tutorial system assumes that it's in the kitchen and that it can be making queries from the simulation there. The pantry screen doesn't have some of those same objects, and I'm just basically untangling and extricating parts of the tutorial code from the kitchen. That's just what I'm in the middle of right now, and I do still have a few other things I need to wrap up before the next release. Unfortunately, I just don't have much to show this month, but I'm still hopeful that I'll get this game done by the end of the year. I still think there's a good chance I can do that as long as my mental condition resolves, and I guess I'll keep this a short one. So, as always, it really helps me out if you hit the like button, spread the word, and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, thanks for watching.